Once again, everybody, thank you for being here, for tuning to This Is What's Your Space. Of course, the happy hour of Keystone Advisors. Like I always wanted to bring you an opportunity to relax, have a great time, but also listen to a very cool information with our guests. And oh my God, if we have a guest today. I was able to pull some strings. I was able to make some calls. I was able to reserve in a time. And I'm just kidding. I just called this guy. Actually, I didn't call him. I text him, hey, we have this thing. In less than 24 hours, this Superman said, of course I'm there. Ladies and gentlemen, right now I have the opportunity to have a great guest from our partners with Sparks Advisor. Nobody else but the man of the hour, Jesse Hannon, the head of Live and Ancillaries from Spark.
Rudy,
Jesse, my friend, thank you for being here. This is such a great opportunity for me to have you here in the podcast.
Well, it's easy to say yes when Rudy pings you and says, hey, can you make it here? You drop what you're doing and you make it.
Oh, man, I appreciate it because I know it was a last minute. And I honestly thought Leo, I know he's probably busy. He's not gonna be able to make it, but we can tell him that we will be able to arrange for a time. And all of a sudden say, hey, he said yes. I was like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, man.
So it's a pleasure to have you here, man. Thank you for being at the
Cheers.
happy hour
Appreciate
of
ya.
our Keystone Advisor podcast. And what I told you right now, what I want is for you to feel free, to feel comfortable, and having this conversation of what somebody in the industry like me will pick your brain if we're kind of like in one of those meet and greets that we
Absolutely.
always go and, have opportunity to kind of like be outside of the office and say, hey, what about this thing? What about you think of this thing? And so that's why I wanted to bring you here. Because, with your history, the way that you're being accomplished every step of the way in this career and in this industry, I wanted to have that opportunity for everybody to hear. So let's start with that. Who is this guy, man, that, we were able to see you on conference, we were able to see you leading great companies, and now, of course, we have the pleasure to count on you at Sparks Advisor. So, tell us about your first years.
Rudy, it started as a story of failure. And I think when we're early in our career, it can be easy to miss out that failure can turn into opportunity.
Absolutely.
So I started my career as a teacher in Los Angeles. If you ever saw the movie Training Day,
yes,
that's the neighborhood my
no
kids lived
way.
in. Way.
That was the school and everything?
98% free lunch school, multiple, primarily ESL.
Okay.
Kids were dope. Kids were awesome. But you live in LA long enough, you become a capitalist.
Absolutely.
And 2006, I'm watching a lot of Jim Cramer's Mad Money, if you remember that show.
Yeah.
Buy, sell, sell.
Yeah.
And I was going to become a businessman.
Okay.
Yeah. No degree in business, no nada. I convinced Edward Jones to hire me as a financial advisor.
I saw that in your resume.
Yeah. So started knocking on doors, selling mutual funds, selling insurance products. Worked my way around the industry, was going to be a golden boy of finance.
Okay.
And then the great financial collapse happened in 08, 09.
Correct.
I had worked my way up to a registered investment advisor and realized that this golden boy was a golden turd. Do you know why? I wasn't providing any value. I thought my presence was the value. And I learned real quick that you need to provide value in this world in order to get a return.
What a great association with what we do.
Oh my gosh. So real quick, I learned I need to learn how to do something. So I had this insurance license and a company that was willing to hire me as a 100% full commission insurance salesperson. So again, went back to knocking on doors and selling some leads, and a company picked me up that sold Medicare supplement plans.
Okay.
And I won't name that company to save them, but they had a contest in 2009. And the contest was, do you remember those old Garmins that you
Yeah.
would put?
Yeah.
Whoever sold the most MedSums, this was like November 2009, we're going to give you a Garmin that has everybody turning 65 in LA County and Orange County, California for the months of January to June 2010. I won that contest. The guy who became my business partner got second place in that contest just because we were going app for app. It could have been either one. We won it. We got the Garmin. The next day, we left that company.
That's awesome.
That was it. And we got appointments with Aetna. Shout out Aetna.
There you go.
Got an appointment with Blue Shield of California. Shout out Blue Shield of California. And we were off and running. You're not supposed to do this, kids, but we went out and knocked on doors.
So there were old times. Yeah.
There was the Wild West in the West, as far west as
Exactly
you could
right.
go. And dude, we knocked on doors from Compton to Beverly Hills and Inglewood to Malibu.
Wow.
Selling med sups, selling like duals didn't even really exist back at that time. You didn't really
Yes, of
have
course.
managed care plans back
Of
then. It was just like straight up MAPD. But we learned how to sell. And we were out there pounding pavement, literally driving from T65 to T65.
Wow, man.
And this is another lesson that I took from that. Knocking on doors is exhausting.
Yes.
It's if you've ever done it,
I did.
yeah,
I did.
You
Yeah.
get the it's exhausting. So one day we're sitting back and I'm like, dude, we need a digital presence. 2010. I created a business.google page for us, a Facebook page for us, and a
In
Yelp
2010?
page. In 2010.
Okay, so you were a visionary. I mean,
Anybody that is in the business today that does not have a digital presence, shame on you.
correct.
It is free.
We got to say it. We got to
It's
say it.
free, free 99
Yeah.
to do your business.google.com page,
There
to
you
do
go.
your Yelp page, to do your Facebook page, do your TikTok page. Point.
Yeah. There you go.
It is that easy. Why does this matter? The state of California in 2010, in all of their infinite wisdom, decided they were going to do one of the country's very first dual demonstration projects. For those of us who have been in the business long enough, you understand that's when the state takes all of the people that are dual eligible and moves them on to managed care plans, Medicare Advantage, HMO plans.
There you go.
UCLA Medical Group at the time, when this was about to happen, their chief medical officer had a panic moment. Called one of their office managers and said, Google Medicare broker Los Angeles. And guess whose name popped up?
Hey,
Our firm did.
there you go.
And dude, we got a call. Hey, can you come see the chief medical officer at UCLA tomorrow? You bet you're. Wait, that's not actually what we said. You know what we said?
Let me hold on. Let me see if I can have.
Let
a
me
moment on
see
my
if I have
schedule.
any availability
Right,
because
there
we're
you go.
busy,
There
baby.
you
We
go,
are
Larry.
busy.
There
Oh,
you
you
go.
can't let people know you're going to make time for them. We did the next day, obviously.
Of course.
And we went from knocking on doors to learning provider marketing.
Oh wow.
And that day we knew we had to bring agents on board so we could fulfill the obligation to what would become medical groups around Southern California. And that's how we built our agency.
Oh man. You see, I mean, I'm glad that I asked because I didn't know that part. So that's
Yeah, well,
what a great.
the
great-
lesson still today, I live in Houston, Texas. We both live in Houston.
Yes.
And I find agents who don't have a digital presence today in 2025 and my head
I
almost
believe you.
explodes.
I believe you.
Like, how can you not do this? This is going to change your life. This business has the opportunity to change your life. So the long and short, we built an agency. I ended up selling my half of the agency to the person who was my business partner at the time. Again, probably something I shouldn't have done looking back in hindsight, but I was in my
Well.
mid-30s, whatever, right? Had a pretty crazy adventure since then. There was a small insurance company at the time called Oscar who was trying to get into Southern California. They'd had a couple of rough attempts getting in. The first open enrollment I worked there, we went from 10,000 to 45,000 lives in LA.
Wow.
Here's the lesson in this story. When I had my agency, we were always friendly with our competitors. We weren't bridge burners. We weren't people who would go to meetings and call folks out. We made friends with we were frenemies for all intents and purpose, right?
Yeah.
When I took that job at Oscar, guess who all of our distribution partners were? Those frenemies.
Of course.
You never know in life where this adventure is going to take you.
Yeah.
And those folks who are my competition, who I probably could have had a West Side Story moment with,
Right?
they ended up becoming my top distributors.
There you go.
All this business is so small. So the second lesson I take away from this is your network really is your net worth.
Exactly.
And those are the folks who allowed me the opportunity to eventually lead Medicare at Oscar, eventually become the national sales director at Oscar, because it's about parlaying those relationships into success. And at that point, you can take your know-how and parlay that into success. Because we know a very niche thing in this world, right?
What I'm hearing, it's something that we also try to carry on to everybody, that not only, I mean, and you guys tell me what do you think about this story? You're hearing, how do you call it?
The frenemies.
No, the frenemies. That's I'm using that one. The frenemies. So not only you have to deal with someone that it can be a competitor, but the level of ethic and respect while you conduct your relationship with those individuals can also be at your advantage when the opportunity presents. So that's a great takeaway, guys. So I'm of course we're gonna be recording this thing, and you can go and rewind it and listen to it. But right now I'm doing my takeaways. That frenemies is a phrase now that you're gonna hear me.
Yes, sir.
Stealing from you. But the second thing is respect and ethics. They can really take you to places when those individuals that aren't supposed to be around you, they will stick around you because of that earned respect.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's exactly what you guys did back then.
Absolutely.
Great,
and
great.
Still doing today.
Absolutely.
Quite frankly, I think we take this network that we have and we're building whatever it is that we're building. And if folks know that Rudy is a guy you can trust.
Correct.
Rudy is a guy, when he comes to you with an opportunity, he's not going to blow smoke. And Rudy does genuinely stand on what he believes in. Those characteristics carry a lot of weight. And when you do come with that opportunity for those folks around the country, it's going to be very meaningful for them.
Correct.
And it is around the country. We meet people from all over the place in this world.
Correct.
Especially if we're lucky enough to have been able to cover some territory in our professional walk. And holy smokes, it really does. God opens the gates for you.
Oh, man. So then you decided to explore out of California. So what happened? What happened
Yeah,
then?
well, it was, again, dumb luck. And Oscar decided to go into the Medicare space. Google gave them hundreds of millions of dollars to do so.
Wow.
This was 2018, and I knew I wanted to compete for that job. Again, I was just a rep in SoCal. So I called the guy who's still the SVP of growth. Shout out to Lewis.
Oh, right.
And I tell him, hey, I want that Medicare job. He's like, well, you're going to have to compete. And we have some people who have been in this business 20, 30 years coming at this job. Threw my hat in the ring, threw some punches, got the job. We didn't have kids yet at the time. So my wife and I were able to move to Manhattan for the year. And we launched Medicare with Oscar. It was crazy, man. There was like 7 of us in a room building this dang plan. And we hit the number that we were supposed to hit. In fact, that's when I got introduced to Houston.
Oh, really? From Manhattan to Houston?
Manhattan to Houston.
You got to tell me all about it.
So Houston was one of the markets that we were going to open. Okay. And my job, distribution sales guy, was to come down to Houston and wine and dine with the salesperson that we had here. Shout out to Matthew. He's still at Oscar as well. And Matthew and I, this was so dope. If you've never been to Houston, number one, come here and eat.
Yeah.
That oh man, what a food city, right? And Matthew introduced me to Eater.com. Have you ever heard of Eater.com?
Yes, of course.
Oh. And you know how every year they have their top like 33 restaurants, right?
Yeah.
That year we did all 33 restaurants.
Get outta
Louis,
here.
thank you for approving those expenses, by the way.
Get out of
Oh, man. And we met all the brokers of Houston, and I learned how diverse this place is.
Correct.
Holy smokes. Like, and how dope everybody is. There's just like this friendly, welcoming, we're all in this together attitude with Houstonians that is mind-blowing. Yeah. To the point where I remember we were sitting in some parking lots and I was like, man, I could see myself living here one day.
There you go.
And so we did all 33 restaurants on the Eater list, wining and dining, hit our number, had the fortunate ability where, Oscar had some more expansions going on. Lewis was like, hey, how'd you like to run the West Coast? You can go back to LA. Went back, left Manhattan March 1st, 2020. Avoided.
Oh, wow. It was right at
at COVID.
Right at COVID, yeah.
Yeah. One of the hospitals we were working with was Montefiore. And Montefiore was the epicenter of original COVID in the Bronx. Yeah. Shout out to Montefiore and those guys. They were really in a zone when COVID hit. But yeah, then West Coast turned into the West Coast in the center part of the country, turned into the Northeast, turned into the national job. And I was there until 23.
That's awesome, man.
It was a great, super dope adventure.
You see, guys, what I'm telling you. I mean, I'm just getting goosebumps right now. I'm sitting with the man who makes things possible, and it's because of perseverance and because of the vision. So, and that's when, of course, I think we came across. I mean, we met briefly when you were already at Agility, and you were doing that job, and I said, well, I was concentrated completely on Medicare Advantage. So that's why I'm like, no, he's not one of my contacts.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I see this guy in our world, like, going like 100 miles an hour. So like, I gotta meet this guy. So I'm so happy that destiny and opportunity present us and present a guy like me to learn from you and get to bug you like constantly in Spark, and you guys at Spark, there always are listening to what we're doing and how you guys can make sure that we do our job correctly and all the support. So kudos and shout out for Spark as well. So tell me how was that movement from that job at Oscar to Agility and then Spark?
It's been a wild ride.
Yeah.
And I really want to concentrate on, I think, Spark, if you don't mind. And
of course.
Really jump right into, I met the CEO, the founder of Spark, at a bar in Manhattan in 2019. And this is how this story really does come full circle back to Manhattan. Is literally, we're at a bar, 29th and 10th Street. It's a no-tipping bar in Manhattan.
Okay.
Not allowed to tip anybody. Prices are expensive anyways.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah. And my wife hears some dude talking about Medicare, and she taps his girlfriend's shoulder and is like, I think your boyfriend should meet my husband.
Yeah, right.
And we're probably the only two dudes talking Medicare at a bar in Manhattan at midnight on a Saturday. This was James.
Oh, man. Yes. I can see you guys.
Oh,
I can see you guys in the bar going intense.
Awesome. Well, we were supposed to connect the next week. My grandma passes. Life happens. We never end up connecting. Literally 2020, a year later, I get a call from an engineer buddy at Oscar. He's like, hey, there's these three dudes. They're starting this thing. And will you take a phone call? And again, this comes back to net worth, always saying yes, always being open to have that conversation. There's all these lessons. And I think, really comes from a lot of this.
You didn't know where this three dudes.
I had no idea who these three dudes were.
Wow.
I just, shout out to Rohit. Like, I just trusted Rohit. And if he wanted me to help some of his buds, I was going to help some of his buds.
Of course.
We jump on the call.
That's what we do.
And James and I are like the Spider-Man meme.
Right.
Like, oh, hey.
I remember you.
I remember you. The no tipping bar. And from there on, we stayed in touch. In 2021, he needed to make his first sales hire. So he's out in LA. We're walking down the beach in Manhattan Beach. It's still COVID, you know,
Wow.
and LA kind of
Yeah,
shut
yeah,
down
yeah.
hard. But we, you know, we're out there walking. He's like, we're going to make our first sales hire. And I'm like, you need to meet this dude, Henry. And shout out Henry Figueroa.
Hey, Henry,
He's, you
that's
know,
my
big
boy.
fig, right?
You know, that's
yeah.
my boy.
And I was talking to him on the way over here, as a matter of fact.
Oh.
And
He's gonna get mad at me
Dude.
because he wasn't here
oh,
first than you.
shout out
man.
Henry. He's on a plane right now.
Hey,
That's
you're next,
the
brother.
reason.
You're
That's-
next, brother.
That's
You're
the
next.
reason. So I was like, you need to meet Henry. They meet Henry, love Henry. They hire him on as their first sales guy. He's still VP of sales
man,
over
he's
there, still
freaking awesome.
crushing it. And, you know, just over the years, we'd like been always trying to find ways to work with one another, et cetera. And in July of this year, we found an avenue to make it work.
That's
And,
awesome, man.
you know, they wanted to expand their portfolio, look at other product lines.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, here I am.
Well, you know, we all know that Spark is doing incredibly well. If you like this content that Jesse just shared with us, you're not going to believe what's about to share in part 2. Yeah, it's so intense and so important that what we decided to do is break these in 2 episodes. So stay tuned because part 2, it's about to happen with Jesse at the happy hour of Keystone Advisors.